morning, fam. I was just thinking about the term, you know how we used to talk about fraud on the court back in 2019. We used to talk about calling them out on identity theft and stuff like that. And now I understand why nobody was actually able to, hold these people accountable for fraud on the court. We used to call them out on it, but we never actually could shut them down by using that remedy. And it's really because of the fact of the powers of attorney. If they have power of attorney and they're doing something on your behalf because you refuse to do so, then they're operating, like they're supposed to be operating. They're operating as attorney in fact over your estate, and you have no records, nothing to prove that you actually still alive, not missing, and not in a state of incapacitation. I actually just so I was just thinking about that. Even my partner I was telling you about yesterday, who was in court, and he was calling these people out on administering his estate, and he never gave them power of attorney to be administering his estate, and that's what he was calling them out on. So he was not only this was he rebutting the presumption of death. He was also rebutting any presumption that he's in a state of incapacitation or incompetent, missing, or in some way. If anybody's in that status, if that's the status you're operating under, that's why they operate. That's what gives them the authority to administer your estate on your behalf. But when you shut that down, when you come alive, so to speak, and you make it known on the record, for the record, that's what shuts them down. That's how that stops them in their tracks. You have to call them out on that. But if you don't understand that, and you choose not to do that, that's why they continue to railroad. You can't call them out on fraud on the court because they have power of attorney. It's like these are powers of attorney that were put together years before you even knew about it. That's the problem. That's the fraud about it. You want to call any fraud is the fact that they didn't. You don't even know that this power of attorney exists. You never knew. You don't know there's no full disclosure. None of that shit. You don't know any of that. That's what should be shut down when it comes to these court cases, because they know they're bringing people into court, into these courtrooms that have no idea what's going on in the court. They don't know the language of the court. They don't know the operations of the court. They don't know the mechanics of how things are going. They're getting railroaded until they figure it out. They're not allowed to teach you this shit, so they keep you in the dark so they can continue to, continue to raid your estate till you figure it out, causing injury to you until you figure it out. That's what should be shut down. And that's one of the reasons why I go hard like I do. There's a lot of people being injured, families being hurt, children being restricted from their fathers, families being broken up because these people are doing things that we don't know and we have no clue what they're doing. When you come down to those applications, that any application, keep in mind, they can't get in your business until first an application is done. Paperwork has to be done before they can get in your business at all. Think about that, y'all. Before any company can get in your business, there must first be an application of some sort. Some type of paperwork got to be put in. It must be done first. And if that paperwork, and we already know the applications get turned into the Federal Reserve in order to get monetized. They get Federal Reserve notes from that. We learned that from the Federal Reserve Act, Part 16, Section 16, Part 1 and 2. You read that, you'll see those applications get turned in there. They get monetized through the Federal Reserve banks. If you didn't give anybody permission to use that information to put on an application so that they can monetize this case or whatever they got going on with your information that only you authorized to use. Your estate is your business. That is your person. That is for you to operate and conduct business. If somebody use that information and put it on an application without your consent, is identity theft. In Georgia, here it's called identity fraud. So you can look that up. It's the same thing. They're doing it without your consent. You never gave them information. You never gave them your social security numbers. You never gave them the address, your name, none of that shit. And if there's no injury, they shouldn't be using your information. They shouldn't be raiding your estate. They shouldn't be using look here, they should not be using any information that's connected to your estate that's going to help them monetize whatever their agenda is, for any reason without your consent. If you didn't injure nobody, they shouldn't be staying. They should keep your name out of their mouth. It's like, say if you injure somebody, you harm somebody. Like a friend of mine was telling me about some ex of hers that, bust her windows and shit like that. Did some old random shit to her car, vandalized her car, and she, reported them to the police. Now that's a good reason to give somebody, to give someone's information so that they can bring a charge against that name, bring a charge against that estate. But that's an injured party. But somebody just putting that information on there to try to see if they can raid your estate out of bitterness, out of hate, just to be malicious. Nobody has authority to just do that unless you gave it to them. Now keep in mind, your father and mother gave you that name when you were born. The estate was created when you were born for your benefit. So when you grow or you become, it was for your benefit even from birth. But once you reach your adulthood, you're supposed to take control of it. And keep in mind, it says the KV Act kicks in during that time. After 7 years, generally is the number 7 years. If you go back and read it says the KV Act, you'll see that. Here in Georgia, it's 4 years. I keep reiterating it so y'all can get it. After those years that's when you're presumed dead or missing or in a state of incapacitation. You're in a state of incapacitation from birth. Because you can't walk, talk, you can't do anything, you can't think properly, and you can't manage your own affairs as a baby, as a newborn anyway. So that's what mother gave that consent for them to have that type of control from before you were born. So that power of attorney, they create that power of attorney from that. So that's where that springing power of attorney kicks in at. When you became, but it was never revoked. That consent was never revoked. That power was never revoked. That was given to them when you were a baby and when you never knew it was put in place. You have to revoke that shit. They're gonna continue on raiding your estate and trying to say and getting paid off of your shit until you get that fact, until you start taking control of that shit and holding them accountable by first off revoking that power of attorney. Like I had to create a new power of attorney for the Child Support Administration. Because baby mama decides she wants to try the shit again, this time in my city. I beat child support once. That was in my county, where I'm from. But I moved to another city, so now she's trying it again in a new city. But I've done, so I've served people revocations in that county. So I got to do it all over again with the Child Support Agency, and these two entities that's written on this document. But you have to serve these people. If you don't serve these people, they're operating the way they're supposed to operate. It's not fraud on the court because they have the power. They got powers of attorney to do this stuff, to do what they're doing. And you have to revoke it. By law, you have to revoke it. Like remember I told you that I have a cousin that had power of attorney over my dad's estate. Because I'm my dad's caregiver, and I had to revoke her power of attorney in order for me to shut down what she was doing. And when I typed up a revocation of power of attorney, even over my dad's bank account, I typed one up. He said, had it notarized, signed by him, where he revoked it. And I presented it to the bank where his bank account was, and they shut her stuff down right away. Changed the password, cut this with took the card, the card, and made a whole brand new card and shut the old card down. She had no more power to get into his account no more. And then this is the power of a power of attorney. You have to shut that stuff down. Otherwise, they're gonna do shit. Now, even when I keep in mind, before I did this, like my dad came up here, I brought him up here. I looked on his bank account. Hell, shit, done stole $5,500 out of his account before I revoked it. She took $5,500 out of his account, and so because she was and I understood. I can see why she probably did it, because she wasn't working nowhere and she needed her bills paid. And she was basically living off of his money while he was living at her house. So I didn't bother this situation, but she knew that she wasn't authorized to do that, but I just didn't bother the situation because, how else was she going to pay her bills? So, and it wasn't hurting us for her to do that anyway. So I let her get away with this shit. But right after I revoked that power of attorney, she was no longer able to do that again. So that's the power of a power of attorney. You have to revoke that shit. If you don't revoke it, it's not fraud on the court if you don't revoke the power of attorney. So this is why I strongly encourage people to revoke that shit. You have to revoke it. If you don't revoke it, they're going to continue. They're going to be, this is, keep in mind, revoking the power of attorney also rebuts the presumption of death. Now, I did that. This is the revocation. This is my revocation. It's actually a power of attorney, but I revoked theirs to start off with. With the Georgia Department of Human Services, Division of Child Support Services, the DCSS, and even the governor, because they got the governor's name written on that notice I received. And so I'm sending one to the governor too. So, is revoking, basically giving them a power of attorney. And I verify it. Got to have a verification page right there. And, I'm verifying. And of course, I got 2 witnesses for mine. I always have 2 witnesses, because every word is established by 2 or more witnesses. That's scripture. And then I got a certificate of service attached to it. Got to have that certificate of service attached to it. So it's basically stating that they all receiving this document. You know what I'm saying? So this is not just it's not just this here, but I'm also answering it. I'm answering their document, but I'm attaching a revocation to go with it. So it's 2 documents in one. I'm gonna get both of them notarized, and I'm gonna make copies of both of them after I get them notarized, and I'm gonna mail them off to them. One for the governor, one for DCSS, and one for the Division of Child Support Services. So I'm doing it right away. So they're saying that, there's supposed to be some type of appointment that's supposed to take place on the 10th. Not the 10th. I keep saying the 10th. The 5th. So I'm acting quickly. Today's the 26th. So I'm making sure it's 26th. Yeah, today the 26th. So I'm shutting it down before they get started. So I'm not doing no appointments. Usually they can shut that down right away. So it's how we doing it. So this was I only say what I'm saying, man. You have to be willing to stop that shit. You have to revoke the power of attorney. And I was talking to my partner Mike. He knows who he is. About saying too much. You can do something solid without talking too much. When you put too much in there, you prolong your situation, because you're talking too much, you're saying too much. It's like you're trying to, do this and do that and do this and do that and do this or that. It's just like girls when they fighting like this here. They just trying to win. They just that's what you're doing when you're doing too damn much. You don't have to do all that shit. You see how short this document is? How short that answer is? It's short and straight to. I said exactly what I needed to say and left it at that. This is 2 pages right here. That's the answer. I verified it, and there's the verification part of it. Hold on. And the certificate of service part of it. All of it is 2 pages total. And this is the revocation. And this is only 3 pages. Yeah, it's 3 pages. And that's including the certificate of service and the verification. Verification right there. Certificate of service. This is the vast majority of the actual power of attorney right here. You don't have to be saying too much. When you're saying too much, you look like somebody that's all over the place, and you're not focused on one spot. You're not focused. When you're trying to hit them on all spots, thinking you're just gonna shut something down, hit them here, hit them there, hit them there, hit them there, hit them there, hit them there. For you know it, you're gonna be fighting child support for years. You're gonna be fighting it for years because you're doing too damn much and you're not focused on what it is you're doing. You're all over the place and you still ain't gonna sue no damn body. Because people be like, talking about I'm warning them. I be hearing people talking about warning them about this and warning them. What's a warning? You've been sending them warnings for years. You sending them warning for years. You ain't gonna do shit. They see you like that because you ain't gonna do. You're not gonna do nothing because they already know you. So you keep on sending them stuff and you talking about warning them this and warning them here and if you've been sending these warnings for years, you're not a threat at all to them because you're not gonna do anything. You're not gonna hold nobody accountable. A lot of y'all don't do a registration of trade name. You don't have no control over your name. You don't do no powers of attorney. You don't put nothing on no records. You just sending warnings. Those are you sending blanks. So you don't have to do all these different stuff. You just be straight to the point about what it is you're doing. You don't need but one solid move to stop these people. You don't need but one solid move. You don't have to mention all these different angles of fraud that they're doing. A lot of y'all exhausting yourself because y'all doing a whole lot and y'all shouldn't be doing all that shit. You'll be fighting child support for a long time. A lot of y'all I've been talking to for years, for quite a few years, because it's one guy in particular. I don't talk to him at all now, but he been fighting for years, and he shot down. Doing the trade name registration and taking control of the names and all the different stuff. Like they shoot it down because they thinking because I beat child support. They undermine what I'm saying about beating child support because they're already on child support and they feel like it's easier to stay off child support than it is to get off child support. And I'm like, when you know the law, then you'll realize that don't make sense. When you know what you know when it comes to the law, what you've actually read about the law, then you'll realize how that doesn't make sense. Because when this is all about life and death. I've shown y'all in the Sestakate Act of 1666, and I've shown y'all about the presumption of death. I've shown y'all in multiple states. If you look at my previous videos, it specifically says that once evidence is proven that you are alive, all administration of your estate ceases. It specifically says that. It's not me saying it. This is what the laws say. But if I'm showing it to you and you just want to dismiss it because you just want to do shit your own way, and probably because you're listening to me and other folks on the internet, they got you thinking that this shit don't work. When I'm showing you the same laws and the same codes that they're using against you that got your ass in bondage. I'm showing you the remedy in the same area. You know what I'm saying? In the same, because you all dismiss the codes. You can't dismiss the codes and think you're going to just... Anyway, I'm going to get on off here, y'all. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please go ahead and do so. I'm going to go and get this stuff notarized so I can go and get it mailed off. I got my certified mail stuff already attached to it. I'm just going to put it on in there. Once I notarize this stuff and make copies of it, I'm going to send copies out to them. Always keep your original. So if you got to go to court, you're using this as proof that you actually did serve these people. Okay? I got the certified notice on my certified mail, on my certificate of service. Notice I got the certified mail numbers at the bottom of the information. See that? Put the information. This is how I do my certificates of service right here every single time. I always put certified mail number under the address. So if I got to file this in the court, this is going to be, I'm going to have the green card, like a couple, basically like a copy of the green cards that I'm going to receive back when they receive this. I'm going to file these with that evidence that they actually received it. Okay. So not only will the tracking number serve as evidence, but the green pictures of the green card that's signed is going to show that they actually received it too. So I'm going to record this in the county recorder's office once I get the green cards, because that's what I'm supposed to do here in Georgia anyway. And they're going to get this privately. See? And so if they end up opening up a court case, this original goes into the court case. So I don't have to do anything because we don't have no court case yet. According to that notice, they want to deal with it privately. until, you know, basically want to see what they want to see how I'm gonna handle this shit privately before they try to court shit. They're gonna be wasting money trying to go to court. So they're gonna find that out in the next couple of days. So I'm gonna get on out of here and go on and handle my business, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Emerald signing out.